Okay, so now that you've heard about a whole bunch of different stuff, we'll see if there's a few minutes here for some questions. The kids will be down in probably about 10 or 12 minutes, it looks like. I want to make sure my email address is up there. Also, I've seen people taking pictures of the slides, which is fine. I will post these slides on the school's website too tomorrow, so if you want to come back and reference them for that, I'll have a PDF of the slides up there as well. So does anyone have any questions that we might, the audience might care about? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, so the question was students currently taking IM in 5th grade, and I believe when I looked in the 130 so students that were invited, initially there were about 11 students that are taking IM in 5th grade. Those students will go straight into algebra in grade 6 with Ms. Safner. They will take magnet geometry in 7th grade, and then in 8th grade, 11 students were not likely to run an Algebra 2 class with that. We would likely send them to Blair for Algebra 2. That's general. We have like 1 or 2 kids this year. That's been one of those things where the pendulum has swung back and forth over the. I've been coordinator for 16 years, and you start to see the patterns, you know. So there was a time where we had a significant number of kids taking IM in 5th grade, where we have a class of, you know, say 25 or 27 kids, a solid class that would come in to do algebra, then geometry, and then algebra 2. And Ms. Manchester taught the algebra 2, magnet algebra 2, and she really enjoyed that course. She was very sad that it's gone away the past few years. And then the pendulum swung the other way, and MCPS, in their more recent curriculum revision, they put a lid on that acceleration in elementary school, and they really limited the number of kids that were allowed to take IM in 5th grade. So now currently, like we only have like maybe 2 or 3 kids that are at that level in 8th grade, and so we can't offer a course with only that many kids. So we have a relationship with Blair. Those kids go over to Blair in the morning, take a first period algebra 2 class, and they come back here for the second block class. As that pendulum swings back, it may very well be that we'll start to offer algebra 2 again. It depends on staffing. It depends on. Generally, you don't run a class with 10 or 11 kids. You generally need like 20 to justify having a class itself here. So if that pendulum does swing back in a few years, we might be offering it again. So any other questions? Yes. Yes, sir.
My daughter sent a long list because she couldn't come, but about how much homework is expected on an average night, and how does that compare with the wider population in the school?
So the question was about homework, the annual question of how much homework there is. Always a popular question. So I have a few thoughts on that. I think generally, what do we say to kids? 1 hour to 2 hours of homework a night? So there's a couple things to kind of think about. First off is with the block schedule, you know, our classes are 90 minutes long. So compared to like a traditional 7-period scheduled middle school, that's like 2 class periods, right? So consider that you're covering material for 2 class periods in 1 day. All right, so it's really like how much homework do you get in 2 days, in a sense. And then the other thing is you have 2 days to do it, right? So if you have English on Monday, you're not gonna have English again until Wednesday. So you can take a look at the homework, get started with it, see if you have any questions. Maybe you need clarification on something, you come in the morning, maybe before the late bell rings, go see your English teacher, get clarification, work on it again that night, get it done. So there's that. The other couple of things to consider is, in the magnet program, students are taking an additional academic course, which is computer science. So that's a course, you know, like English or math, where you're gonna have homework, you're gonna have tests to study for, you're gonna have projects that you need to do. It's not a class like, you know, like FACS or something, like an arts class, where you're not really gonna have homework per se. Okay, so there's another academic-oriented class. I will say that, you know, when we look at, you know, the pace of instruction in the magnet program, so they're going through material much faster, so they're covering a lot more material, even in that extended period of time of a 90-minute class. But the type of homework that teachers tend to give, because highly able students, they pick up things pretty quickly, right? They don't need 20,000 drill and practice math problems to do, right? They need maybe 4 more focused and detailed questions to explore different elements of an algorithm or a method in mathematics, right? So the homework tends to be a little more focused like that. Okay. The other thing I'll say, in my experience, I've worked with middle school kids for longer than I want to tell you, and my experience with how much homework do we have, the key variable in that is actually the kid, is actually the student themselves. So they're the one that determines, like, are they going to take 10 minutes to knock this out, or are they going to dread it and moan about it and do it again and revise it and cross it out and start over and take 30 minutes to do it. So you know your child and their work style, and that's a little bit of getting into the habits of middle school and the differences of elementary. But that's sort of my take on the homework thing. So any other thoughts? Yes, sir, in the back.
So you have on that question, right? So you still consider the amount of time these kids to spend on a house? Because some of the kids will be spending 1.5 hours on the public school. So in a day they will be spending 3 hours on the bus.
Yes. So the question was about the amount of time students are spending on the bus. And yes, for some students it is a significant commute. I can tell you that some of the pickup times on the buses are in the 6:40 range for some of the early stops, and you can take a look at those lists on the website to get an idea. I'll say this: I think that the bus experience becomes kind of a common suffering for the magnet kids. It kind of unites them and binds them in a way. It's this thing that so many of them kind of suffer through. They make the best of it. I mean, a lot of kids work efficiently. They get their homework done on the bus. They do, use that time efficiently. That's a choice that some kids make. It's also a social time for a lot of kids where they chat, they play games, they play cards on the bus. One time years ago, I had to break up a poker ring that was going on the bus. They were actually betting real money. I said, no, we're not doing that. So, so they make the best of it. But it's a significant thing for some kids. So take a look at the schedule and see if you can get a sense of how long it might be for your family. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the English class. The World Studies class is a lot like the Global Humanities that's being taught in a lot of the middle schools. I mean,
Yes.
my son is doing 7th grade, same thing. But the English, is that separate from the magnet, or is it just, that's what you?
Okay, so the question is about the English class compared to like the Global Humanities, where it's like a separate class from the regular historical inquiry class. So the English class is, it's called Advanced English, and Advanced English means the curriculum. It doesn't mean the kid. All of the students in the grade level take Advanced English. So all of the students in 6th grade take Advanced English 6. So our students, the magnet students, would be in with all the other kids that take it, which is potentially any 6th grader. Okay. We do have some sections of the class that have cluster groups, special education and English language learners in them, and then that we call that a supported class, where there will be an additional teacher in that classroom to work with the content level teacher to help to differentiate and support kids that might need extra support in there. Might be a paraeducator, might be a special education teacher. So there are a couple sections at each grade level, like 3 at each grade level that are structured like that. And then the other, like 11 or 12, are just general ed kids with the one English teacher. Yeah, good question. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering how this links into high school, and do most of the kids disperse back to their local high schools? Do they go on to a wide variety of schools? Do they all go to the same school? How does that work?
Yeah, the question was about how the Tacoma Magnet blends into high school. So I can tell you, our 8th grade students are well prepared to be competitive applicants to the high school application-based programs, which is, Blair's Math Science program, the Communication Arts program at Blair, the International Baccalaureate program at Richard Montgomery. There's also a global ecology program at Poolsville that not many good kids go to. There are also engineering and medical academies at Wheaton High School as well, you may not know about, but those are great programs too. And probably out of our class of 120 kids in the 8th grade, 60 to 70 of them get invited and go to one of the specialized high school magnet programs. The rest of them go back to their home schools, whether it's a school in the down county that they choose as part of the choice process, whether it's going back to Walter Johnson or Richard Montgomery or whatever their home school is. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I really enjoyed the descriptions of all the classes,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering if there's any way or anywhere to look into the actual samples of the kind of assignments that you're getting.
The question was, beyond the descriptions of the classes, Is there anywhere to go to see the actual assignments, examples of the assignments? I don't think we have anything like that. I mean, the county has an elaborate website for curriculum that doesn't show you like what our teachers might create that modifies the curriculum, which is what teachers normally do. You have a thought, Ms. Dean?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have actual assignments, but there's a monthly newsletter that we
Oh,
publish
yeah.
that has a description of what's happening in each course by month.
Mm-hmm.
And that can give you a picture, like if you want to go through this year so far.
Right, they're all up there.
You can see, October, November, December, January, what's happening in every subject area. It's about 18 pages long. It's organized by grade level, and then I think world languages is its own separate one. So that can kind of give you a taste of what's happening generally month to month.
Yeah, and again, that's on our website. If you're on the left-hand side, there's a quick link for Principal's newsletter, and there's where we archive all the months right there. You can take a look at those.
Give you a snapshot.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Quick question related to the same question. So do you actually evaluate how many kids to see that?
Right. The question was, do we do any evaluation of the students to determine whether they should go to algebra or IM? The short answer is no. So it's really a curriculum sequence, right? So the students who are in the accelerated track for math, the math 5-6 in 5th grade, which is nearly all of the kids. Like I said, there were about 11 kids who were accelerated to IM, and there may be like 1 or 2 kids that might come from math 5, but that's unusual. And generally, I can tell you the pattern of why that is. Usually, that's a kid who is a talented math student, but maybe just moved to Montgomery County in grade 5, and it wasn't really identified by the elementary school that this kid should have been in accelerated math. So they put them in the grade level math, and then the kid is really ahead of that. Then they perform well on the COGAT test, they perform well on the assessments, and we realize, oh, this kid really needs to jump up a little bit in the math, and we'll jump them in. But we don't like test the math 5-6 kids to see if they're ready for algebra. We really want, our point I hope you heard from Miss Manchester, the point of what we're trying to do is really develop a deep appreciation and a deep understanding of mathematics. We're not looking to simply accelerate kids. There's plenty of opportunity. These kids are already 2 years accelerated, okay? And there's plenty of opportunity in high school to like diverge in your path of how, if you take pre-calculus versus functions, or you're gonna take a 3-semester sequence of pre-calculus or a 2-semester sequence, to do some acceleration there. But we really want to build a foundation, and we really think that's really important in terms of what's going to happen at these 3 grade levels. Yeah. Any other last couple questions? Yes, ma'am.
So I imagine I'm not the only parent who has a kid whose intellectual strengths are in the humanities, but who's really excited about this program. And so I'm wondering how you teach to kids who have maybe greater strengths in like thinking through things out loud, but want to do the accelerated math and science.
Yeah, so the question was students who have strengths and gifts in language arts and history and humanities topics, but are really interested in doing the math science. I think, we do have kids that are really broadly skillful kids in that sense. And I think you heard from Mr. Goldsmith and Ms. Lett about the opportunities in the curriculum to really get into some high-level content and to really develop writing skills in both of those disciplines at a high level. As well, there's enrichment opportunities in terms of after-school programs and classroom enrichment, things that we try to incorporate for kids that have those gifts like that. Yeah.
I guess my concern is that she's going to have trouble in like a math class if everything is being explained through numbers instead of having some explanation through language as well. But you don't think so?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that she was invited to the program means that the committee that we're looking at them saw that she had demonstrated some skill in mathematics at a high level. So that's kind of how that works, Yeah. Any other thoughts? Yeah.
This is sort of the same idea as hers. I want to know more about the culture and the culture on the kids. How competitive are the kids? Do you statistics on attrition?
Yeah, so the question was about the culture within the school, like the kid culture of the school and the Magnet program. There is a certain competitiveness, I think, that some of the Magnet kids bring to the table. There's a certain drive maybe to, overachieve that some of them have. I mean, that's definitely a thing. I think that we try to create, I think you heard Ms. Dini say, we try to create a culture within this community where kids respect each other, kids tolerate the diversity of ability, of culture, of language that we have here at Tacoma. So, we don't just let kids be arrogant little punks, you know what I mean? We kind of challenge them on that and make sure that, they understand the kind of culture that they're participating in here. I will also say that, that competitive nature is also, in terms of teaching highly able kids, that's something that our teachers tap into. And you heard Ms. Manchester talk about the competitions that they use in the classroom. And so channeled in a productive way, that competitive urge is something that can really be a motivator to kids too. And we're aware of that. We're aware of that. I hope that answered the question. Yes, in the back. I'm sorry, nice and loud? Class sizes? Yeah, so class sizes are defined by the Board of Ed. The magnet classes are no different than any others. It's 32 for social studies, science, and math, and 29 for English. And so that's standard across the county. And our classes are roughly 27, 28, in that range. But I think the kids are coming back, so if you do have any other questions, please feel free to email me. Please feel free to call my office. If you're going to Eastern's meeting tomorrow night, enjoy, and you'll have to make a decision. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Yes, and you can let the 5th grade students in to reunite with their parents.